Good morning.
Hello. The church chimes ended just in time, and I'm like, oh,
Good.
here we
Good.
go.
Perfect.
Well, hello, everybody. Like, oh, we're going to be late. They're already giving us, comments. And I think today is supposed to be a little bit more on the mild side after the thunderstorms we had.
I think so too.
So hello. If anybody has had a chance to listen to the podcast that released this morning, let us know. Oh, Setsuko, like, do you ever sleep, honey? You're always on with us.
Honest to God.
Let's see. So many good mornings. I always feel bad if I miss somebody, so I try to go through and grab everybody. Oh well, thank you, Sue. So Sue listened to
Good.
it.
Glad you liked it.
100.
Oh, you can have it.
I will keep. What are we supposed to be at? Like 78 today?
Yeah, almost 80 today, so that's better.
Cookies about to
It's about to crumble. Great.
All right. So yeah, newest episode released this morning. Some pesky, meddlesome, invisible people butting into marriages was today's topic of the podcast. So if you have any questions, if you listen, feel free to ask. That one was pretty interesting, Marianne. Well, thanks, Karen. So I'm asking, are you ladies listening like while you're getting ready for work in the morning, while you're driving to work?
Well, I'm sure they're not setting the clock for 4 a.m. to listen to it.
I mean, if you are, awesome.
Yeah,
But
right, but come on.
you don't need to listen to us that early in the morning. I just got a little bit scared. I saw Bunny. I'm like, oh, she got out of the fence. Nope, fence is still good. Good day, ladies. Oh, currently at work. Okay, this is kind of work. It's
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. Well, that's really nice if you can actually go to work someplace and still do this. You
Right.
must have a private office.
Well, and like City's asking, I'm just outside today instead of being in the blue room of the house. I'm just out back on the porch because it's nice enough weather and can let the puppers run around and have fun.
Yeah, looks pretty like that. That's a nice
Yeah.
background. Yeah.
Sneak the 12-foot skeleton in here and there. Hello, Sandy, and hello, Jackie from Belgium.
Oh my gosh.
New friends from over the ponds. Melanie says she likes to listen while she's cooking dinner.
Okay.
It is real. That's a real tree.
Yeah, that's for
I'm
real.
outside.
Yeah. There's no wind blowing, so you can't see the leaves moving, but it's real.
It's real. You can probably hear some of the traffic and stuff. Let's see. But yes, it's a real tree. You might hear the real dog running around up and down the porch. Oh, good. So people were saying they're listening at work, and so their boss can't see the hair. That's a upside of having longer hair.
There you go. That's good.
Good morning, Laura and Jim. Kathy, so new listener this summer, love the information. So many, we'll start asking, hon. We're live. This is when to ask.
Ask the questions while you can.
Right. Marianne, I didn't even have a chance to tell you this morning. I made a Twitch stream that we're also now on Twitch.
Oh.
So maybe going forward when we record some of the podcasts, we'll do it live only on Twitch, trying to gain a new.
What is Twitch?
Twitch is usually used for a lot of gamers. They live stream when they're playing video games, and but there's big like podcast thing that's going on now where they're streaming there.
Oh,
So we're now on Twitch under Goddess Elite LLC.
Twitch. Somebody was called Twitch. Somebody had a name Twitch. Who the heck was named Twitch?
Goldberg. There's been times some of those backgrounds can look so real. That's why I thought maybe this one
Disc
is
jockey for Ellen's show. His name was Twitch.
okay. I couldn't tell you the last time I've listened to regular radio. It's always a podcast or an audiobook.
Yeah, but
Sirius is always trying to get me to pay for internet radio in my car, and I'm like, I didn't listen to it when I had it for free after buying it. I'm not going to pay for it now. I saw regular size skeletons at the Halloween store in Solon yesterday. I kind of am. I'm looking for about an 8 to 9 foot one that will live in the store like year round. So we want to dress them up for holidays, have them hold signs, all that fun stuff.
there's a lot of, I couldn't believe how much Halloween decorations are out in the stores. I mean, it's amazing.
Brooke found us on Twitch.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's Halloween everywhere. So oh, thank you. This is the one that glows in the dark too. So which I think all Oogie Boogies should glow in the dark, but not all. Oh, you're welcome, Gina. I'm glad we got it over there for you. Amy says she listens to the podcast while she's at work. So if you have any questions about any of the past episodes, or if you knew and you have questions about earthbound spirits, ghosts in general, feel free to start asking.
Or if you've ever been to some kind of an event or store or something and you felt creepy inside, I'd be curious to know what kind of store it was. Was it an antique store? Was it a stadium? Was it a dance club? A topless bar? Something like that. I would, and you can't believe what those poor girls take home with them.
That's what somebody asked if it. She was a dancer on this morning's episode, so there is that question.
Yep.
Charlie's mom says, "Thank you, Marianne. I received my Wee Folk solution this week. In the following directions, I won't get a Wee Folk trapped in my house, will I?"
Absolutely not. As long as you put the millet outside the door, anybody that was inside the house would have left. So absolutely not.
So now we have Italy,
Italy, my gosh.
we have China, we have Belgium.
And London.
I feel like we need to now get a map and start putting pinpricks of where all of our friends are.
That's really
cool. Charlie's mom was saying how Christmas trees are up everywhere way too soon. And our friend Debbie, who has to do the scoop the Jesus out of the pew card for, says, if you think that's bad, I've been getting stationery orders for the holiday since July.
Oh my God. Well, good for you, but really? I mean, that's good for business. That's terrific.
Yeah, we've got to order so far in advance and plan and know what we have. And it's funny because I was already contacting the tea house that we use, setting up dates for Valentine tea and Mother's Day tea. So, I mean, you just have to go out that far.
Well, yeah, because people have me booked for Halloween already. They started in June. I got a couple calls for Halloween already. So
I wouldn't. Oh, her name was Cookie. She was a showgirl.
yeah, right.
Oh, well, and thank you so much for sharing out there. So guys, feel free to share the stream, share the love, get more friends on, especially if you want us to start traveling out of state to come see you in person. We don't mind Marianne's eye roll. We're gonna do this at some point. I will drag her kicking and screaming.
And that would probably be the way.
Like, come on. Diana says, good morning, would love to talk to you. So you can ask questions now. If you are local to the North Olmsted, Cleveland area, Marianne is with us in person quite a few times a year. The next coming time will be on September 10th at the John Christ Winery for the Wine and Spirits event. So you can come out and come talk to her there. Um, Kathy says, I'm a practicing Catholic too. Is it still beneficial to pray for our loved ones that have passed? I pray for all my family and friends daily. I sure hope this is to everyone's benefit.
Absolutely. Positive energy in the prayers is going to help anybody if they're stuck in the elevator and they want to get higher up wherever they're at. So prayers work good.
Oh, good, Tammy. I'm glad. We have these little black kitty cat pictures and perfect for Halloween. So I'm glad. Brenna says, good morning, Marianne and Melissa. Do babies give off more energy to earthbound spirits since they have such high energy? Will a ghost come into more houses with children due to that?
No, not at all. And they really can't stay around babies that much because their bodies are so tiny that they get sick pretty fast. So no, they don't do that. You're more going to find ghost children around live children because kids like kids whether they're alive or dead.
Even though it seems like, because I'll see them running around in the store and I'm like, my gosh, if you could bottle that up and sell it, it would be better than coffee.
That's right.
See why the question.
And that's why preschools, nursery schools, they have so many ghosts in those places. It's unbelievable. Some of them stay in the school and, mess with the kids when they get dropped off in the morning, but a lot of them will go home with some of those children.
Hello, Amber. Jim asks, have you experienced the Bel Air House in Southern Ohio? My wife and I are thinking about doing a ghost tour.
I have not even ever heard of it. Nope. And if you have a charm, make sure you wear it if you're going ghost hunting.
So Diana says she's in Elyria and says she keeps hearing bangs in the house and wondering if somebody is there with her. The best bet for that would be to jump on one of the Zooms, because Marianne can't see into your house. This way you can see us, we can't see you. And on the Zoom, you can find out if you do have earthbound spirits, if you have a portal, if you have negative energy. You can ask a couple questions and find out what's going on. And that the next one that has openings is the 19th.
Yeah.
Let me find that link. So there is the link for anybody that wants to sign up. It is limited right now. I think this might be the last one that we're keeping at 15 just for summer.
Correct. We're opening it up more starting next month.
Oh, hello, new friends. some of Brooke's friends coming over. Thank you so much. Oh, let's see. Karen says, I went to a concert last night and had Quincy necklace on there and it tore off. Could it be the energy pulling it off or just me? Were you in a mosh pit? I mean, were you in a mosh pit, Karen?
Somehow you had to lose it because an earthbound spirit cannot touch it.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, little folk don't bother them. They don't do anything to little folk anyway, but they don't bother them either. So.
Hello, new friends. Yes, how often do I wear a shirt that's not a Nightmare Before Christmas shirt? Not very often. Hello.
Yeah, I'm sure if I ever saw that movie, I could appreciate that, but I've never seen any of those movies, or shows or whatever they are.
So now what we do is we go on a road trip out of state to meet some of our out of state friends. And during the drive, I make you watch Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, yeah. Okay, then.
All right. I'm liking this plan. Gina asks, have you ever been involved with any haunted dolls like Annabelle or Robert?
As a matter of fact, I was, and it was Elyria, of course, of all places, went into the house and there was a really bratty earthbound ghost child in there that absolutely loved her Chucky doll. Absolutely loved her Chucky doll. And she was so scared of that doll after I told her that this kid was there. She goes, "Oh, I don't want it." I says, No. I says, "It's fine now. The house is protected." No, that doll ended up sitting in my back seat coming home because she absolutely did not want it. So just as a side note, because I can do that sometimes. My youngest sister is always afraid of everything. She's just that type of person. And it was Thanksgiving, and it was at her house, and I had snuck Chucky in the car, and during the meal I excused myself and got Chucky and put him in her bathroom off her bedroom. And of
I love the way
course,
you think.
when either of my sister or brother-in-law would use the bathroom when there was company, they would always go into their own.
Mhm.
And I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting, and I see my sister starting to do the dishes. And as soon as you put your hands in water, you got to go to the bathroom. And so I see her drying her hands and taking off through the kitchen, through the living room, down the hall to the bedroom. 10, 9, 8, 7. Yeah! She comes screaming out of her bathroom.
That's so awesome.
Oh my God. She didn't talk to me for 2 weeks. I swear to God.
It was worth it though, right?
It was funny.
Ah. Um, Amy says you would love Nightmare Before Christmas, and then Rebecca gives a suggestion on one book club night. Perhaps we just make it a Nightmare Before Christmas movie night instead of book
Wow.
discussion.
Thanks so much, Becky. I really appreciate that one.
And hello, Loretta, another one of our local to us friends. Kate asks, "Have you visited the Writers Inn in Painesville?"
I have. I actually did an event there. And is it haunted? Yes, it is. And did some of the ghosts stay? And I was there many years ago, so I'm sure it's full again. But they didn't want to put up seats.
Oh,
Some people like their ghosts. And they sort of, I notice in the fall, well, they used to, I don't know if they still do, but starting this time of year, it's amazing how they play up the haunted part.
mm. I mean, I can see why, especially if it's going to keep bringing people in.
Yes.
And Karen, she says no, she was not in a mosh pit. She was just being clumsy. What day was it? Monday, right? Because today's Wednesday. Was watching. It was a 3 or 4 parts documentary on Woodstock '99, and I was there. And let me tell you, the traumatic flashbacks. I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. But there was so much that they didn't even go over certain bands and like the Rage Against the Machine and that rush of the crowd that happened right after that, running, so not being trampled. A lot of bands they didn't even go over, but yeah. So I'm like, were you in the mosh pit?
Just wet and cold and muddy.
It was hot as hell and overpriced, and would never do it again. Nancy says there are several stores in Maryland chock full of antiques, things you don't really need but want. The atmosphere is heavy. Is that kind of common?
Trust your gut instinct. If you pick up something and your stomach does a flip, or all of a sudden you think, "Ugh, I don't really like this," there's a reason. And that's what a lot of people do. They'll go through antique stores or flea markets and pick up something and, oh, I know where this is going to go. But the longer they hold it, the headache starts, or just leave it and don't take it. That's why I tell people that go to these antique stores or anything used, carry a little bit of sea salt in your car. Anything you buy, sprinkle some sea salt on it, and about 75% of the time, if something or somebody is attached to that, they won't follow you home. Of course, the perfect thing is to wear a quincy charm, because then nobody will ever follow you home. But the sea salt will do a little bit to help.
Doesn't hurt to keep it around, just in
Nope,
case.
that's right.
Good for negativity. Throw it, aim for the eyes. Nobody will mess with you.
That was not my advice, just in case you want to know.
That's
No.
all me. Marianne, nothing to do with this.
And dolls don't become possessed, Sandy. A ghost likes the doll, and the doll is, they act up when the doll is around, but it's not the doll. The doll is not going to get up and start dancing around and chase you. I would quit if I ever saw that. Take my word for it.
Yeah, dolls are creepy enough as it is. They don't need to get up and move. Hey, Richie. Let's see. Lornell asks, Elvis Presley, is he alive? Are you serious? If yes, how did you know? Did the ghost tell you if he was alive or not?
No, many, many years ago. What is that? The Inquirer. Remember that newspaper that it was.
Oh, the Gossip Rag, the National Enquirer.
Yes, I did a house for one of the reporters that worked for that organization down in Florida, and he absolutely, positively tried to convince me that Elvis was seen in, I don't know if it was one of the I-states or Michigan, in a gas station, working in a gas station. And that's why, sometimes I'll make a reference, oh yeah, he's working in a gas station someplace, but I truly believe the man's probably dead.
I mean, given what his diet was towards the end.
All these years, if he was alive, somebody would have found him by now, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Our friend T here, this is the downside of typing out something really long. We don't get to see your whole story or question, but having to do with military buildings, Marianne, would you say most military installations and buildings are?
They do. They have a lot of ghosts in them. Even the Air Force Museum here in Ohio, that has stuff in it. I've been to the museums in Washington, D.C., in New York that are, related to Army, whatever. Yes, they're absolutely. Some of them come with some of the articles that were brought from foreign countries, and others, that's just where they hang out at.
I think I've told the story before about the back 40 of Fort Campbell where they do a lot of training missions. And that's one of the few places where actually felt like being touched and whatnot. And I'm sure these little family cemeteries spread out amongst the woods where soldiers are actively training and firing ammunitions isn't the greatest.
It's not what you call a peaceful rest.
Right. And thank you, Brooke, for helping build that already for me. I literally made it not last night, the night before. And I'm like, well, let's try this and see if this will help, get it out there. And thank you for helping. And if you've got any friends, please share. And yes, it was crazy. I kept looking in the background. I'm like, can you find me and Rhonda in there? It was insane. Again, would not do it. -5 stars, do not recommend.
See, and you're talking about Woodstock in 99,
mm-hmm.
Not the one in 69.
No, complete different. And that was one thing they kept saying. It was the same guy who organized all three of them.
Okay.
And he really, really wanted that atmosphere to come back, but it needed to make money that time. And so it was all of these other budget cuts on the back end that kind of led to what ended up being the downfall. They subleased all the food rights. So that's why water became $4 a bottle. And by the end of the weekend, it was $12 a bottle. And, subcontracting the trash. Well, they never came in and picked up the trash. It was nothing but litter all weekend. So,
well, in 69, there was no food.
Right.
You wanted something to eat. You took some jerky with you.
I was like, if it came up again, no. Nope, would not do it. I will, if they stream it, I will sit on my couch in comfort and air conditioning with my own food and beverages. I will not go stand out there and do that again. Brooke asks, what does negative energy feel or look like to you?
When people can see auras, they see pinks and blues and purples and yellows and golds and all of that. I can't see pretty colors, but when I look at somebody that has negative energy on it, or driving down a street and glance at a house, I can see a house will have like a little thundercloud over the top of it, just over that house. And depending on how bad the curse is, it could be light gray to dark gray to black to charcoal gray, just depends, dark navy blue on people. But when I touch people, I can feel it immediately in the palms of my hands. That's
Hmm.
why when I'm on Zoom, I can tell if somebody is got a curse on them or not just off of Zoom.
Um, and why do some spirits attach to some people and not others?
Some people like the energy from a particular person. Why were you attracted to your spouse? They were beautiful, they were handsome, you liked them, they were cute. These people are still human, they're just dead.
And Melanie asks, where can you get blessed sea salt? And Lori says, get the salt.
Right. I have a number of priest friends that I will buy 50 pounds of sea salt at a time and take 50 pounds to the rectory and have him run out and bless it. And then I give it to Ted sells, blessed sea salt in the store. And that's the blessed sea salt that the gal that makes my soap uses, the blessed sea salt soap. That's the salt that she uses in that. But if you go, if you have church services and you go, it's Thanksgiving that you can take, stuff into the church to have it blessed for Thanksgiving and that. When you take it in your basket with your, nut rolls and your, breads and stuff, have a 5 pound bag of salt in there. And when he blessed the basket, he'll bless the salt too.
There
So,
we go.
you don't even have to buy it. Just get creative. You can figure out how to get it blessed.
Well, this leads into another good question. Whoops, come on. Jules asks, have you come across priests that are against your gift? As a Catholic, I believe it's a gift from God being used for good, but others may not agree.
And I definitely, if anybody was at the talk at this past in Strongsville a couple weeks ago, I told that story about priests are human. Some of them believe, some of them don't. I was under the impression that when somebody said they were going to go talk to their priest and tell them what just happened, I went, oh no. But I said, is the priest young or old? She goes, oh no, he's young. He hasn't been a priest very long. And I thought, oh, maybe that's a good thing. Oh no, that was not a good thing. Another one went to see a priest that was about ready to retire, and I'm thinking, I said, he's probably going to be really angry at you for
Right.
telling him what you did. And she called me up, and he said, no, I was so blessed to know you. So it's him like everybody else. Some believe, some don't.
Let's see. So, um, talking about somebody just, oh, here we go. I always wear my quinceañera when I go to estate sales and make sure and sprinkle everything I buy with sea salt. So,
Perfect. You're doing exactly what you should be doing. Absolutely.
and Dawn said there was an antique store in Oberlin. It had an upstairs, and I always felt like someone didn't want anyone up there. It felt like the air got thick, and I needed to get out, so I left. And I think this was the one over there on the corner, if I remember correctly.
I I know that antiques, or I know that antique store. As a matter of fact, just go with 90% of antique stores, Salvation Armies, uh, any of those, secondhand stores are going to have earthbound spirits in them. It's just a given.
So Sandy wants to know if she can book us to go on a personal antique shopping trip. Like, are you trying to find the ghost, or you want to make sure you don't bring one home with you?
That's funny. I've had two people over the years ask me exactly to do that, to go with them. And it's like, baloney, just buy whatever you like. And if there's something attached to it, we'll get rid of it.
Huh. Just and what chapter 13 of When Ghosts Speak will tell you how to get rid of anything that you may have brought home with you.
That's right.
Oh, so, and it's funny because Amy is refreshing my memory. I was trying to remember when you were telling the story about your sister and that doll a couple years ago. It's instead of Elf on the Shelf, it was doll, and I could not remember. And because it's so easy, it rhymes. Doll in the hall. And she's like, "Go move it around."
Okay, cute.
Um,
To put a little addendum to that, that sister went and hid that doll in our niece's house while she was at work. And the niece took it pretty well. She did okay. But then my niece found Elbel, is it Annabelle? Is
oh
that
yeah,
Chuck's
Raggedy
girlfriend, Annabelle?
the Raggedy Ann looking one.
Yeah, she bought an Annabelle someplace and hid it in that same sister's house again. So they have, I mean, I started it, but I dropped out of it, but they have been going at it. They try to do that every year. They try to scare each other.
See, now you should throw them off and jump back in without a warning and just be like, I'm back. I
No.
started it.
My sister would be this particular sister. Absolutely. If you went into her house when she was not home and opened up her silverware drawer and took out all of her steak knives and just put them under her pillow in her bedroom, I'm telling you, she would go out of her house screaming like a lunatic because she would be sure somebody was in her house trying to kill her. So it doesn't take much to set that sister off.
Makes it easy. There was a question about if either one of us have been to or investigated the Punderson Manor, and I have not been there.
And I have. I've been to Punderson too, and yes, that absolutely had ghosts in it. Did an event there too, and it was full. It's funny because they have these, the Ryder and Punderson, they have these luncheons, and the stupid chicken and what have you, and then the talk, and it's crazy the way then people start looking around. After as soon as they're done eating, it's like, oh my gosh, somebody was up there watching me the whole time. But it's
Right.
It's fun for them, I guess.
Ed asks, how do you convince a ghost that they're dead when they don't want to believe it?
Ed, I have never found an earthbound spirit that didn't know it was dead. I don't pay attention to what those ghost hunters and Ghostbusters on TV say. How can you spirit leave your body and you look down and you see your body? It is dead. How do you know you're not dead? Sylvia Brown was a great one for saying, well, you don't know you're dead. Please. No, that's not true.
City asks if earthbound spirits talk to each other, and if so, do they do it verbally or telepathically?
They hardly ever hang out together. It affects their energy somehow, and I do not know how. Now, the exception are kid ghosts. Kid ghosts do hang out together all the time, but absolutely not adults. And the few times that they've been, like if I go to a house, one will be standing in the dining room and one will be standing in the living room. They can see each other. I have heard them talk to each other, but just because they're talking to each other doesn't mean that any live people are hearing them talk.
Did their mouths actually move, or was it?
No, the mouths do move.
They
Just
did
like
more than
little-
what's up?
Yeah, the little kids
How's
move.
that dining room?
Right, don't come to the dining room. I'm in here. Get out. Right.
Mine.
Yeah.
Amber Says my grandparents passed away 12 days apart from each other 2 years ago, and I've been dreaming about them almost every night recently. Does this mean anything?
Well, Amber, first of all, that's not uncommon for people that have lived together for a very long time to die within not that within a week, 2 weeks, maybe 2 months of each other. That's pretty common. That's terrific that you're dreaming of them. That means they are where they're supposed to be. They're not stuck. I'm curious to know whoever died first probably waited for the other one to die. So they probably crossed over together, which is really sweet.
Mm.
Just get into the habit because you can talk to them. All you have to do is when you see them in a dream, say, "Hi, Grandma, hi, Grandpa," and you can actually talk to them. It's a pretty cool thing. If you don't remember your dreams, get an herb called mugwort, Mugwort, and make a little sachet out of it and put it between your pillowcase and your pillow. And in about 3 weeks, you'll start remembering your dreams. They are on definitely in the web store also. But do you carry mugwort, Melissa?
Yeah, we carry it in like little half ounce just by
Yeah.
itself. So,
So even, you can buy it at Melissa's and just put it, it's crazy. You can do it. Just, get a hanky and put a dab in the middle and pull up the four corners and put a rubber band around it and stick it between your pillowcase and your pillowcase and you'll remember. My dream bags have other properties in them, plus they have a quinceañera in them, and therefore people that have insomnia or trouble sleeping, this actually helps people that have trouble sleeping also.
Loretta asks, is there a difference if a person gets cremated or a person who gets buried? Or is it just a soul is a soul?
You're right, Loretta. A soul is a soul, but please try to find out from your relatives if you're going to be in charge of their final wishes. Make sure you know what their final wishes are because a lot of people just don't want to talk about, you walk up to, "Mom, what do you want me to do when you die?" "I don't want to talk about it, leave me alone." And that's what you're going to hear. But if the person wanted to be cremated and that's what you did, terrific. If the person wanted to be buried and you said, "It's too expensive, let's just cremate them," that could be a reason why they don't cross over. So if they want to be buried, bury them. If they want to be cremated, cremate them. Don't go against those wishes. But seriously, try to find out what they want because it's so hard on the family if they don't know what's. Even if you write it down yourself and put it someplace, if you die, they can find it, just so they know something.
Our friend Lewis is here. Um, Says, Marianne, other than your daughter, do you find it odd that you have never met anyone who can do what you can do? Hope you're having a great day.
I'm having a good day, and I don't know. I'm sure there are other people out there that could do this. I don't personally know anyone, and I'm sure Tara doesn't know anyone that actually can do this. I know people that are really good, readers, psychic readers. They can see spirits that have crossed over, but I don't actually know anybody. But like I said, I'm sure they're out there somewhere.
Let's. Brooke says, Marianne, have you ever crossed over a psychic or medium or a fake psychic medium? Followed up with sips tea.
Yeah, a lot of them were actually two that I can think of off the top of my head. He had a huge business, and the one was on sometimes, the other one was on never. And neither one of them, I thought it was funny, neither one of them apparently what they didn't know each other, two different states actually. And apparently when they were sick, each of these ladies was asked, "When you die, should I have Marianne come so you can talk to us?" And funny, both of them said no.
Wonder why.
Yeah.
So there are questions. People want to know, where is that Chucky doll now?
It's probably in my niece's house, along with the girl doll, Annabelle. Yeah, there. I would imagine my niece has both of them.
And many people are wanting it to that prank to keep going.
Well, if like I said, if I know my sister and I know my niece, it'll keep on going. They won't stop. As a matter of fact, my niece, I think, tried to pull it on her sister, but her sister was, oh no, I'm not even going in the bathroom. I know Chucky's in there. So she never went in her bathroom.
Brittany asked, do you find more attractive people have more attachments?
You would think that I would find a lot of attachments around models. And surprisingly, they are not somebody. But again, people are attracted to beauty and to personalities and to energy. So it can be any number of things. But I don't necessarily find that attractive people have more than, say, homely people. No.
And Victoria asks, what could cause a whole family to remain earthbound inside of a house?
Off the top of my head, I would say that it was probably a violent death of some kind where the whole family was taken out at the same time. You know, maybe like a house invasion or something, and everybody got killed, a bad house fire, and everybody died in the house. So that's what I would say off the top of my head without talking to somebody from wherever that house is.
Um, let's see here. Amy says, my 3-year-old autistic grandson has a friend named Titus. The toys in the basement get moved around a lot.
Actually, Amy, those children that are autistic or Downs or anything like that, the energy from these children is not exceptional. However, look at the stress the parents are under and the running around and the doctor's appointments and the special ed and all of that. The ghosts are attached to the energy that the caregivers are giving out more than the child.
And Amber says, my grandfather also passed away the day of my grandma's viewing, so I'm wondering if they were both at her viewing. Thank you for answering.
I would think so, yes, absolutely. And if the one had already crossed over, she would have seen him in the light, and that would have made her want to go into the light also. So, yeah, no, that's a good thing. Everything you said today has been really good for you.
And Poodle Pants asks, when you see sparkles in your periphery vision, is that a guardian angel or something else?
I think it could absolutely be a guardian angel. And unless somebody's walking by that was reeking with glitter all over them, I think that easily could be that. Or you got cataracts if you see those sprinkles at night when you're driving. So no, that's not an angel. That's cataracts starting.
Brandy says, I work as a medium on the side. My daddy died in 2018 and my mom 2020. I have never been able to hear or see them like I do everyone else. Is this normal? I've never had anyone to ask. Is it because they were so close to me?
And that could be one of the reasons, Brandy. They'd be afraid that if they came to you, that it would be too upsetting. So that absolutely could be a reason why. If you have a sibling or somebody else that that your parents have come to in a dream, tell whoever has had a dream about them, go see Brandy. She's going to be okay. Yeah. See if that works.
So all the fun doll stories. And Brooke says, next podcast, doll stories. And I love this. We actually have a Krampus on a shelf that moves around. I actually have to. Speaking of Krampus, we have a Krampus costume that belongs to the store, and I'm like, we need to book those dates. So if you're local and you want to have your picture taken with Krampus, you can come in and have that done. Um, I was kind of bummed. There's actually, if you're close to Columbus, there is a Krampus expo that will be coming up soon, and we tried to get in, but they were already full.
What is a Krampus? I don't even know what that is.
He's like the anti-Santa. So the good kids get Santa. Krampus is the tall, like horn-hoofed guy that's supposed to pick up the bad kids and take them away, or sometimes he'll spank them. Um,
Huh.
but it's really cool if you look at videos in Germany. Like these costumes are so elaborate and just awesome, and the whole town turns into like this big Krampus thing, and they're playing metal drums, and it's really neat. Um,
No, the highest we ever went with that was coal in the stocking. That was about it. We didn't have nothing like that running around.
yeah, um, Krampus is fun. Let's see here if we can find any questions I may have missed. Swifty says she's coming to the winery on the 10th. So,
Oh,
yeah, and
God.
speak to a medium. Who's the best one that'll be there that day? That's like asking who's my favorite kid. Um, but to say that every reader to read in my store or at any of the events that the store puts on, they are vetted and interviewed and kind of put to the test before they're allowed to be at the event. So, and sometimes I make some of those readers sit through 2 or 3 of us, just depending. Maybe they didn't connect with me, but like, here, sit down and try this person. Because I hear it can be intimidating to have to do your interview read with me for some reason. So, they're all really good. I know, like Lori, who's actually in our chat, she'll be there. Vicky will be there. Mike Berta will be there. He's actually coming in from the Carolinas. So we've got a lot of really good readers out there.
And I think some readers use cards, some people use stones. Everybody go to somebody that you feel comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
Or did you have a friend that went to somebody that absolutely loved them? Referrals are good.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't hurt because there's so many people that come every time we do the winery. And I'm sure if you ask, like, who did you just see? Who did you like? They will tell you.
Or when you sign up, see who has the longest wait list.
Right. Well, that's the thing. We added a couple hours on. So instead of 5 to 10, it's 3 to 10. And I still have to say, get there early because those sheets fill up pretty quick. I want to say Dana, I was just speaking with her yesterday at the store planning some workshops. And what did she say? By 5 or 5:30, her sheet was filled. So, come early, not only for parking, but to get a good reading time. But it's always a fun event. Their wine's good.
And I would make a suggestion too. Don't drink too many spirits before you go see whoever you're getting a reading from. You want to be able to remember it, and you want it to be accurate.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. Like there's so many readers who will kind of cut off maybe a little early, judging on the crowd. Like they'll get through who signed up, but if there's like a few spaces towards the end that aren't filled, they'll kind of cross them, and they're like, everybody's shit-faced. Nobody's going to remember. So the earlier the better.
I sit there and watch them. I mean, halfway through, we actually have some tree huggers, sit trying to hold themselves up around a tree.
Right.
If you're a people watcher, it's a great place to come and watch.
It can be interesting. It can be interesting. And almost year after year, I kind of have to ask, like, ladies, because it's usually women that are there. I want to say, especially this time around, Hi, puppy. The men readers are all married, so please keep that in mind. do not get handsy with the male readers. Um, so sometimes I have to go play bodyguard, like, and your 15 minutes is up, and Mike needs to move on. Like up out of the chair we go. So it's fun, but it's usually always a good time. Sorry, puppies got the zoomies. Um, let's see. Amy says, I have a close friend passed 8/1/22, and I had a dream of him 2 weeks later. He had cancer. So sorry. Does it mean he passed over? Before I woke up, he said, miss you and love you.
You're very lucky that you had a dream that fast of him, but you were right about something. People that have long lingering diseases, and cancer would fit right in there, they hardly ever stay. They're so tired. It's not like you want them to be dead, but they need to be out of their misery. And so you're very lucky that they came that quick. But yes, you're right about the cancer. That's why they crossed over, and he's exactly where he needs to be.
Jack asks, is Tara more trepidatious of her abilities because she didn't grow up knowing it like you did? I remember you telling the story of how she discovered her ability. Does she tell people what she does?
Not really. She really doesn't tell people what she does. And, maybe because I didn't start her younger, I, what are you supposed to do? As a parent, you think, well, should I tell them or shouldn't I? And then, of course, about the time they would have understood, Ghostbusters came out, and it was like, oh my gosh! And that's the first thing the older one said when we sat them down and told them, "Oh my God, my mother's a Ghostbuster." Oh, jeez, no.
Kind of going back to like little kids, Pam asks, why wouldn't the parents of earthbound children come for them after they pass?
Well, a lot of times when children die, I'm talking about young children, the parents are still alive, and that could be one of the reasons why the child has not crossed over, only because the child that died is standing there watching the parents cry or siblings cry or the grandparents, and they think, I can't leave mommy and daddy. And so it's almost that reasoning that makes them stay and not go into the light. If your parents and your grandparents, if the child's parents and grandparents are still alive, how many people are going to be in the light that the child knows that would be comfortable enough walking toward the light to go to that person? So that is why kids stay. No, if the parents die first, of course, grandma's, grandpa's parents, somebody will come and help those kids.
Let's see. Ashley says, I have a lot of mediums go live on TikTok. I'd love to sit in, but how do I know which ones are true mediums?
I wouldn't touch that one with a 10-foot pole. I have no idea. You hit it, Melissa. I don't know.
It's hard to say, especially if they're not local to where you have the recommendations going on. I mean, I see it a lot too when I'm actually on there and kind of investigating certain type of videos to make for the store. The only thing I can really suggest is really read the chats and see how people are reacting to the information, but also be very skeptical. Are they asking a lot of open-ended questions? Are they trying to get the client to give them that information? Then they're not pulling anybody. They're fishing for it. If they're able to give info that nobody else would have known, and then the cynical side of me is also going to say, now you have to make sure that that's not a friend of theirs feeding in their chats. So spend a lot of time watching ahead of time before you start paying any of them, and keep track of how many people are always in that readers chats and always having these grandiose aha moments. Is it always the same person? Is it always the same people? you got to be skeptic going in, and it's a good thing to be.
If I was ever going to get a reading, I think I would want to sit across from the person and do it. I don't think I would want to do it over a computer. I would just think that you would feel more comfortable. You'd be able to ask better questions. I that's just my opinion, though.
Yeah, I personally would probably not use, unless it's a name that I know, because maybe from a local shop right now, maybe that reader's trying. But even then, how well is that reader?
If somebody did maybe astrology like that, I mean, that's math and they can't mess up. You give them your birth date and the time you were born and where you were born, and then it's interpretation after that. But a medium asking very specific questions, I don't know.
Yeah. If they're asking too many questions, if they're giving too generic of info. Like, my favorite to give an example is, in this day and age right now, it's still kind of common for somebody to have a grandma and a moo who baked, right? But that's getting less and less common as the generations are shifting, right? So, again, that's a pretty blanket grandma claim. Okay, fine. But what was that grandma's favorite cookie? Or did she really prefer to bake banana bread instead of cookies? And was it all measured? What color was her kitchen? Was it that god awful Pepto Bismol pink back in the day, or the pea puke green? Give something better than the generic grandma who baked in a moo, because everybody had those up to a certain point, right?
Yep.
Let's see. Um, And you can have good readings. Like Jill says, she's had a good reading on the phone. There are excellent readers out there. You just have to vet them and make sure you get the good ones.
That's right.
Lewis, I have not read Alice Hoffman books. Not because I wouldn't like to. My to-do of reading list is always bigger than my to-done reading lists. Though I will say I'm a big fan of the Jim Butcher series of Harry Dresden. And if Butcher is not a practitioner himself, he's got some really good people around him who are magic practitioners, because there is a lot of common sense and useful things that character is actually doing. Let's see. The neighbors are getting loud. I feel like I'm having to yell.
And I'm not hearing anything.
No, it's like the guy was mowing his lawn. There's somebody weed eating. There was a train going by.
Didn't hear any of it.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Well, we're getting close to, we're almost at 11. So there on the screen is the link to join us for Zoom. And as long as we're doing Zoom, that link is always going to work. So it's usually a Friday and a Saturday, Monday night of the month. They always start at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. So we love having friends from all over the world join us, but we just ask that you please adjust time accordingly. It's 7:30 our time, Eastern Standard, not when you get off work or, whatever may be going on. So please adjust the time. What else? Marianne, we've got the book club the third Tuesday of every month.
Yep, it's the 20th for September. And this is the book, How to Survive Mercury Retrograde. And we will be in a Mercury retrograde when we do this. So it'll be really cool. The Mercury retrograde starts on September 9th. Mm-hmm. So we'll be at the winery during the Mercury retrograde too, because the winery is the 10th. I'm not worried so much about that one as I am the one inside the winery on the 22nd.
22nd. Oh, we're being called by Jesus. Can you hear the Jesus?
It's 11 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah, so the 22nd at that same winery is more of like a private, actual paid talk. Everybody can ask questions with Marianne there in person. Cost includes wine. So you can join us there. That winery does have ghosts, but the fun thing is the manager doesn't really believe in any of it, so he just lets us do what we want without really believing.
I really hope he's there when we're there. You know,
He,
a lot of people that do this have their second in command sit there and, deal with us. But I really hope
Here on
he's
the
there.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really like it when I can. It's fun when I can find somebody attached to who doesn't believe in anything. That, and the cool thing is, it's limited to 50 people. So you guys are going to be
Mhm.
able to really have all the questions answered because there won't be a whole crowd there. So it'll be really cool.
Yeah, it's a smaller private crowd. So, but the only thing you can't get an answer for at that on the 22nd is if you have a ghost in your house, because Miriam won't be able to see into your house. That's what the Zoom is for. But
Now
it'll
I'll
be
be able to tell if you have residue on you from a ghost.
hmm
But again, I won't know if that's from your house or maybe from your place of employment.
right. So there's a couple of days in the store that you'll be there. October 2nd is one. I think December 17th is the second one. Um, we are planning the reading of the WTF letters and Tea Party. And Brooke, I got to get with you because we had to change the date. The first date that we picked, I'm like, should be good, right? In the back of my mind, going, no, it's not. And it wasn't until like 3 a.m, a couple days later, that the light bulb went off, and we're like, "You're on a plane to Denver that day, moron." I'm like, "Oh yeah, can't do it that day." So, but that will be fun, and we will stream the reading of those letters, and then once that is done, we'll take that video down and throw it up as a podcast. So keep an eye out for that date. I just have to confirm with a couple other people who are going to help read letters if that date and time works for them. Um,
And the people that are reading the letters are going to be opening up a sealed envelope and taking the question out of the envelope and seeing it for the first time and reading it. And I just need to see how many people can get through reading it. Let me tell you.
yeah, so we will have no, we can't practice it. We can't, get used to it. Um, though one of our friends is going to be online. Um, we'll have to figure out how to keep her surprised when she gets her letter. Um, so yeah, we got a little bit.
It'll be fun.
It will. So keep an eye out for that, guys. But in the meantime, take a listen to the podcast When Ghosts Speak. It's on everything but iTunes because Apple just will not be nice. They
well.
release, yeah, they release every Wednesday morning. And join us next week for the next live here.
Have a great week and thanks for being here today. And we'll do it again.
All right, guys. Bye. Have a good day.